And we are starting on chapter 2 now. The newsroom that used to feel alive. Quote, that's what my future article will be titled, I decide. It hadn't been just busy, but electric, a living organism thrumming with urgency, its pulse dictated by headlines and coffee and caffeine overdoses. I used to love that heartbeat. The clack of keyboards was a Morse code of discovery to me, voices layering over each other in a symphony of revelation. This place used to breathe with the adrenaline high of unearthing something substantial and watching it explode across headlines. It was the closest thing to war without weapons. The kind of battle I wanted to fight. I scan Randall's office as I enter. That's like me, to always peruse the setting. That's because I know there's a hidden connection to everything, a literate and literal parallel, if you know where to look. The connection between things likes to flitter just out of reach until reaching that perfect, extravagant, pivotal moment where disclosure and satisfaction meet in one ecstatic eruption. Revelation is the moment I live for. It's my Christmas, my Easter, my birthday rolled into one. Not the birthdays that were forgotten, but the ones when Harper and Bubba finally saw me, not as an afterthought, but as their star in the sky. Those were the ones that mattered. The years when I unwrapped a bike, an erector set, a microscope, or best of all, a gift certificate to Comer's, the neighborhood bookstore and ice cream shop on Main Street. Occasionally, though, moments of revelation can also bring on childhood trauma. I was 9 years old the first time I heard it. Bubba, Mother purred, her voice lighter than I had ever heard it, like music, like mischief. It wasn't the sharp-edged journalist's voice, the one she used when dressing down a source or dismantling a politician's talking points. This voice was, well, different. I'd been sprawled on the carpet, my chin propped on my hands, flipping through the Fate magazine I'd just pilfered from the library. Something about ghost lights over Texas, a mystery involving aliens and military tech, the kind of thing that makes my brain tingle with the multiple lines of inquiry it offered. But my pleasant thoughts of phantom lights disappeared the moment I heard my mother giggle. A real, actual giggle. It made the hair on my arm stand up. Harper Leighton Wynne did not giggle. I peeked over the arm of the couch. My mother stood in the kitchen, pressing a finger against Father's chest, pushing him back against the counter. His hands were raised in surrender, but he was smirking, amused, like he knew how this was going to end. Bubba, my mother crooned again, a teasing edge to it. I froze. I'd heard that tone before. It was the tone of bedtime, the one my parents used before disappearing behind their locked bedroom doors for hours, giggling and laughing and making weird snorting noises, ones I associated with late-night mysteries, truffle discovery, and unanswered questions. I had spent years trying to crack the case of bedtime. I had theories. Theory 1. Bedtime was a game. A boring, grown-up game that somehow made them laugh until they were breathless. Theory 2, bedtime was a code for a secret mission. Something about journalism, about sources, about breaking a big story. Theory 3, a theory I've been working on recently but is still unconfirmed. Bedtime was some kind of elaborate giggling ritual that involved whispering in flannel pajamas and, somehow, snacks. The last theory came from the time my parents had emerged from the bedroom looking ravenous, sifting through the refrigerator until emerging with a plate piled with grapes. Which made no sense. I mean, what did grapes have to do with bedtime? But this was my first time hearing the phrase Bubba in connection with bedtime, and that meant something. Even at the age of whatever I was, my journalistic instincts kicked in. I narrowed my eyes, absorbing every clue, every micro expression, every shift in body language. Mother was leaning close, Father's hand on her waist. Sorry, I had to make a note. Mother's lips were curled into a smile that I can only call bewitching. Father was looking at her like she had just presented him with the most interesting problem he had ever needed to solve. And then the kiss, right there in the kitchen, full on, mouth to mouth, unmistakable. I recoiled like I'd been physically struck. And then it clicked. The case of bedtime was solved. Bubba Bubba wasn't a code word for something complex and fascinating. It was some intellectual ritual or high stakes journal. It wasn't some intellectual ritual or high stakes journalistic intrigue. It wasn't even a game. It was gross. It was mushy, romantic, and ridiculous. It was kissing. Well, I was rather very young, I must say, in my defense. My parents were in love, in the way of movies, in the way of bad romance novels, in the way I had assumed only other people's parents were, and that was infinitely more disturbing than anything I'd ever imagined. I slammed the magazine to my side, horrified. Ugh, are you serious? I blurted. My parents startled apart, their laughter breaking as they turned toward me. Father, not even slightly ashamed, smiled. Cassandra. He drawled it out with mock gravity, adjusting his glasses. You should really learn to knock before entering a room, or in this case, before eavesdropping in the kitchen. I wasn't eavesdropping, I snapped, but my face was burning. Mother arched an eyebrow, looking entirely too sanguine. Oh, then what were you doing, Cassandra? I scowled and snatched up my magazine, scrambling to escape the crime scene. I was investigating, I muttered under my breath, storming toward my room. Behind me, the two cohorts in crime burst into laughter. I slammed my door shut, mortified beyond comprehension. I didn't know what was worse, that I had solved the mystery or that I had wanted to solve it in the first place. That night, I tried to scrub the moment from my brain to convince myself that Bubba Bubba was just a meaningless nickname, a phrase with no weight, no history, and nothing that needed to be acknowledged ever again. But I wasn't entirely successful because deep down, I knew the truth. And once you know the truth, you can never unknow it. So, writer's note to those of you who are listening to this, who are writers. I'm just wondering if I should reveal what the truth is there. Something along the lines of that they loved each other more than her, that they were more interested in one another more than her, something like that, that a child would conclude. Okay, moving on. Other than that notable exception, I used to love that moment of revelation, just like I used to love the newsroom, though today, if I'm being honest, I hated it because it felt exactly like a mausoleum on Halloween night, the kind where the wind howls through cracked headstones and the dead aren't quite as still as they should be. And the man across from me, the one who used to be my mentor, he was another headstone in the grave, and an aptly named one at that. Randall Graves, editor-in-chief of editor-in-chief of Global Press Inc. Corp. Whatever, looks dead on his feet. His office stinks of the decay of a man who used to believe in truth, but who traded it in for something practical, like corporate favor. The fluorescent light above flickers like it can't decide whether to die or fight, a fitful heartbeat in a body on life support. The newsroom behind me hums with a different energy, not urgency, but exhaustion. These people aren't fighting wars. They're filling reports on press releases and writing cotton candy copy, stories so devoid of substance they evaporate on impact. And right there, between Randall and me, sits the last real story this paper will ever see. A single printed article, an ink drenched time bomb waiting to detonate. You chase it, you clutch it. You tell yourself that this time you've caught hold of something real. But the moment you think you've got it, it twists, reshapes, slips through your fingers. And the more you chase it, the more it consumes you. I exhale sharply. You have got to run this, Randall. It's really good. My editor doesn't move. He doesn't blink, but I can smell it on him. Burnt coffee mixed with calamitous capitulation. Randall exhales, rubs his temples, and speaks the words that shove the knife in deep. Tick, tick, tick. There's a lie people tell about truth. They say it's like a stone, solid, immutable, waiting beneath the surface to be unearthed by those foolish enough to dig in the dirt until their fingernails turn black, until their lungs fill with a soot of corruption so noxious it burns them from the inside out. But that's not right. Truth isn't a stone. It's a boulder. And if you cling to it too tightly, it pulls you under. Well, I'm still working on that metaphor. But back to the newsroom. Randall Graves reclines in his chair, fingers steepled in a posture of practiced control. The glow from his desk lamp casts deep shadows across his face, hollowing out his features so he looks like he's already in the grave. I start playing Chopin's funeral march in my head to add to the drama. The newsroom behind. The newsroom behind the glass wall is a sea of silent faces, heads bent over keyboards, the blue glow of screens turning them into ghosts. No one meets my eyes. No one so much as twitches in my direction. And somehow, I resent them for it. They didn't do anything wrong. Not really. Except maybe they did. Because maybe they should be standing with me. Maybe they should be fighting for some kind of journalistic backbone, acknowledging what's happening instead of pretending they can't feel it. That slow suffocation of integrity, the final lights going out on what used to be a free press. Instead, they keep typing, keep approving, keep feeding the machine. I know I'm being unreasonable. But once upon a time, Randall loved that about me. Or at least he tolerated it. I flattened my hands against his desk, my bitten fingernails pressing into the varnished wood as if I can press the truth into existence by force of will. People deserve to know. My voice is steady, but there's an edge to it, something I let myself believe is fierce and righteous when I know, deep down, it's just stubbornness wrapped in fury. My mother used to call it an immutable pillar of willful ignorance. Randall exhales, his gaze flicking to the newsroom as if he can find his answer there. The bullpen is silent, shoulders hunched, eyes locked on screens, pretending not to listen. His sigh is slow, tired, the exhale of a man who has already surrendered the war and resents the people still fighting it. Leighton. That tone. The same one he used years ago, when I was fresh, still burning with the virtuous fervor of someone who hadn't yet learned how rigged the game was. What happened to him? What happened to us? What happened to you? I demand aloud now, my voice sharper than I intend. What happened to this wire service? Since when did sharing the truth become optional? Randall doesn't answer. Not at first. He just stares past me like he can already see the funeral arrangements for my career. I don't give him the chance to eulogize me. I think, I say carefully, my voice rising along with the heat in my chest, that the only reason we still have a job is because people believe we're telling the truth. I pause. And if we stop, Randall, we really are dead. Randall laughs. Ha, but there's no humor in it. You don't get it. His voice is bitter with the sound of something broken. The people who pay the bills don't care about truth. They care about their stocks, their interests, their ad revenue. You hit send on this and you know what happens next. He leans forward, his voice dropping into something final. They pull everything. Funding, excess, syndication. It's over. The doors close. We become we become another cautionary tale about how idealism doesn't pay the rent. My teeth pressed together, my fury rising like an sorry, like a colossal tidal wave ready to swallow up Randall, along with the drink sipping locals who maintain it'll never reach us. If we don't report it, Randall, who will? Randall's tired eyes meet mine and he shakes his head. That's your problem, Leighton. You think telling the truth is enough, but it's not about what's right. It's about what's possible. If we run this, we don't lose a story, we lose everything. You take down the people at the top, and they don't just fall, they drag everything down with them. He gestures toward the newsroom, the reporters, the interns, the freelancers barely scraping by. His fingers drum against his desk, slow and deliberate. So, what's it going to be? I feel the weight of it now, the choice. I want to say something righteous, something sharp and unforgettable. Instead, I just hear my mother's voice repeating, immutable pillar of willful ignorance. Randall sighs. He thinks he's won. But I don't look at him. I look at the newsroom beyond the glass, at the screens flickering with 1,000 stories that will never be told. And I know this isn't over, not by a long shot. I could walk away right now. I should follow his refusal to use my story like a cyanide pill and pretend I never saw it, never wrote it, never held the truth in my hands. I could, but I won't. I straighten, spine locking into steel. Randall closes his eyes for half a second, just enough time for resignation to set in. You really can't think this is going to save anyone. I hold my breath. Randall gestures toward the newsroom. Dana, 4 weeks postpartum, came back because unpaid leave wasn't an option. Ron, nearly 80, can barely see a screen. But Sadie, well, her medical care depends on him working. Maya, well, I doubt she went to college to post about celebrity divorces. He looks at me like he's watching my obituary write itself. You want to tell me how your article is going to save them? It's a series, Randall. He shakes his head. It won't save anything. It won't change anything. His words slam into me. How on earth did we ever get this far? I exhale sharply. I'm going to take it somewhere that will print it, I mean. Randall watches me, measuring, calculating, testing to see if I mean it. Then he leans back, exhales, and delivers the final sentence. Then take your things with you, Leighton. Tick, tick, boom. I move through the office like a ghost, each step taking me further into a space that has erased me already. No one speaks, no one says goodbye. Dana hunches over her keyboard. Ron squints at financial reports. Maya perches at the social desk, her fingers flying over her phone. They're trapped, caught between survival and the willful suppression of their dreams. But I'm not trapped. I have never been trapped. To I have always allowed myself to think there is a way through it. I hoist the box high in my arms. The contents feel like a joke. Pens, notebooks, old press badges, pieces of a journalist who cared. Randall doesn't look up when I leave. The wild turkey burns going down. On the screen above the bar, the news twists itself into something clean, something safe. Words like alleged and under investigation take the edge off of things that should be razor sharp. I know what I have to do. I pull out my burner phone, dial a number I shouldn't. Charlie at the lantern picks up. His voice is rough, too awake for this hour. Leighton? I exhale, staring into the empty glass. Run it, I murmur. No byline. Keep me anonymous, just the facts. By midnight, Charlie spun it for clicks, my research diced into digestible headlines that with the name with my name and two-line bio in bold-faced on each sorry. With my name and two-line bio in boldface on each one, because in the end, even the lantern has rent to pay. The article goes live at dawn. By noon, my world implodes. By dusk, I'm nothing but a name in a headline. Okay, let me try this metaphor one more time. The problem with truth? It's a boulder that doesn't just sink you. It takes out the whole damn foundation. Like me, my metaphors are works in progress. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you for listening. Please do share any comments or feedback. Thank you. Bye.